Missing home, missing the things that you call upon. Setting sun.
Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes to help your body move. There you go. There you go. Okay.
Even if winds are falling through the cracks again. 'Cause I've been losing sleep.
Everything hurts so bad. Excruciating pain. The brain is physically in so much pain. The nerves from my back of my head, through my neck, through my back. All right. Welcome to the Face of Malpractice. I am your host, Melissa. For those of you tuning in for the first time, this channel is dedicated to featuring interviews with fellow psych drug harmed warriors. It is not just my story to tell. This platform is meant to create space for others to share their truths and experiences. And I also wanted to share some exciting news that I've launched a platform designed to support you on your psych drug harm journey. There you'll find a variety of helpful resources, including symptom list, dear loved one and dear doctor letters, a searchable drug insert database, and a trusted practitioner page with filters to help you find support that fits your needs. And there's so much more to explore, so go ahead and check it out. I'll put the link in the description, and please reach out if you need more support or guidance along the way. So today we'll be interviewing Katt, a psych drug harmed warrior and an outspoken voice for psych drug harm awareness. Katt courageously shares her story publicly as she continues to live with akathisia and other lasting symptoms, raising awareness and offering hope to others affected by similar experiences. Through her openness, Katt sheds light on the daily nuances of living with psych drug-induced harm, the subtle challenges, emotional toll, and ongoing resilience required to navigate everyday life while healing and advocating for change. Thank you, Katt, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here, Melissa.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm so glad that we got to do this. I know we've been like following each other on social media for a while, so I'm so glad that we're able to put you on here and let you share your story in more detail. So I think that could be just like a really good place to start is why don't you tell us where your life was before psych drug harm and when you got that prescription that kind of set you in a different direction and what led you to that moment to being prescribed?
Okay, so I'm going to go back then. I was 21 when this nightmare started. I had no mental health issues per se, as the doctors would point out. I had the minor panic attack off and on. That was it. I dealt with everything naturally. I believe, normal emotions shouldn't be medicated. I'm very strong on that now, even stronger than I was before. So at 21 years old, I had just landed the most amazing job, and my life was kicking off, and it was kicking off beautifully. And I ended up going to Jamaica with friends who eloped, and I was the maid of honor. So I went to Jamaica, and I ended up picking up a stomach virus or some sort of stomach bug. I barely got on the plane and got home, and I was so dehydrated that my parents brought me to the hospital, which is supposed to be a place of healing, a place of no harm. And they, about 4 hours into being admitted into the hospital, they gave me an IV of something called Sematil. And I believe this is also called Compazine. As soon as they gave me this IV, I was jumping out of my skin, freaking out, screaming. My mom was yelling for the doctors. And when the doctors came back, they gave me a downer. I don't remember what they gave me. They told me it was a reaction. It happens. And this was an anti-nauseant. I was told this was an anti-nauseant.
Mm-hmm.
So I go home and I dehydrate again. I go back 3 days later. They give me the same thing. This time I went almost violent. They had to hold me down. They gave me a downer again. But this time leaving the hospital, the feeling didn't leave.
Mm.
I now know it was akathisia. I now know, I don't know if the correct term anymore is adverse reaction. But I had akathisia, and this persisted for 3 weeks. So for 3 weeks, I thought something was wrong with me, and going to the doctors, they finally misdiagnosed me with generalized anxiety disorder with panic disorder, panic attacks. And at that time, I was put on a high dose of, I believe the first one I had was Zoloft, and also was put on clonazepam for a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I honestly didn't know much about benzos until this time around. So I was on the high dose Zoloft and the clonazepam for a year. I ended up losing my job from the clonazepam. I fell asleep at the desk at work, and I lost my job. I lost my boyfriend at the time. I lost my place I was living at. I had to move back home. And I lived in my parents' basement for a year, drugged on the clonazepam until I finally went off of it. I just cold turkeyed off of it. I didn't know any better. And that led me 27 years later. So over 27 years, they had me completely convinced it was mental illness. I went from Zoloft to Paxil to Effexor to escitalopram. I say when I'm doing my advocating, I do call it Lexapro because that's what people recognize it as. And that led me up to the start of 2024. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit to the middle of 2022. No, I'm going to go back even further. I'm just going to bounce a little bit here. Throughout those 27 years, I had exceedingly a harsh time trying to sleep. Let's put it that way. So 15 years into being on the SSRIs, I was put on high dose Zopicone, which is a Z drug. I don't believe it's the same as a benzo, but it does do quite a bit of harm to you. And then I feel like I've lost this last 20 months. So every time I do a look back, I have the years wrong. So 3.5 years ago, I got put on Vyvanse because I got diagnosed with ADHD, which I don't honestly believe in any of this stuff anymore. I believe that the sleeping issues were from the SSRIs, and then the sleeping issues plus the Zopicone moved into an ADHD realm.
Yeah.
So I got put on Vyvanse. That was the start of this. I felt completely like a robot. My marriage started to fall apart. I wasn't connected anymore. I didn't feel connected to anybody. But I was convinced. I'm going to tell you right now, I was convinced I had mental illness. I didn't have any other reference. I'd never seen a psychiatrist in 27 years, just a general practitioner. Never a therapist, nothing. So I was put on the Vyvanse. I started losing weight as well. But I thought, oh, it must be ADHD because the anxiety's gone. So why am I on Lexapro? I decided to talk to my doctor about tapering off Lexapro. I'm going to call it Lexapro.
Yeah.
It's a citalopram I was on at 20 milligrams. He told me to just, every 3-4 months, cut it down. So that's what I did over a year. So when I talk about that I was tapering down improperly. And I know now that at certain points, how do I put this? I got down to 5 milligrams. I was fine until I got to 5 milligrams, Melissa. I got to 5 milligrams and I started feeling something that I had felt before at 21 years old. And I didn't know what it was. And Just need a second to. The brain fog just goes.
Take your time.
So when I got to 5 milligrams, I started feeling ill. And I started feeling ill to the point that every time I ate, I would crash for hours. Food set it off for me. So this made me believe something was wrong with my stomach. I went to the doctor over and over, and he just kept saying, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's not the medication. I kept telling him the medication's hurting me. Up until the 5th month of akathisia, I thought it was the medication that hurt me. Well, little did I know it was the lack of the medication. I know I was injured already on it, but being taken off of it is. So at the 5 milligram mark, he told me that it had nothing to do with that. So I kept trying to go down. I kept trying to cut. I kept trying to cut that pill in half. And I would get bouts of akathisia, and I would reach for my pills and take them. And within 20 minutes, that feeling was gone. I would give everything right now to go back to that point and know what I had, know what I know now. To go back on that medication and do this properly. So this doctor, so I got so bad that I ended up going to the hospital. I don't go to hospitals. I went to the hospital and they thought they couldn't figure out what it was, mental illness, this and that. That was thrown around so often. Talked to a psychiatrist. And they thought this must be serotonin syndrome. They gave me some sort of medication. It didn't help. It made me worse. But on my record, it put serotonin syndrome. So that got back to my doctor. And next time I saw him, he was like, okay, no, you can't go back on that. We've got to keep you off of that. So there it was. I was already bad. I was already experiencing mild akathisia. And I say mild because it was mild compared to what acute was. Any moment with akathisia is too much. So I got cold turkeyed off of that. And at this point, I was still on my Zopicone and my Vyvanse. In the next couple doctor appointments, I actually have them recorded. I have it's legal to do that in Canada. I was misdiagnosed with agitation disorder, functional neurological disorder. In the hospital, I got misdiagnosed with restless leg syndrome. There's about 7 on there that got added in there. And I saw so many psychiatrists during this point that I was ready. Like, it took every ounce of my ability to not talk about the mental symptoms I was experiencing, to only talk about the physical symptoms I was experiencing. I think that is key to why I wasn't sanctioned. For number 1. So I don't know how detailed. There was 7 ER visits total. The 4th ER visit, a doctor got really close. He got so close, except he was so far away. His exact words in my records were, I think this is some sort of withdrawal, but I'm not sure why it's happening. I was screaming
Was that
at.
your first time connecting the dots?
Yeah. So all my hospital visits except the last one, I didn't know what I had. I didn't know what akathisia was. I didn't know there was anything worse than vertigo and brain zaps. And when people complain about that, I want to jump through my phone. I know. Because it can get so much worse. I was bedbound at this point. I have inner akathisia.
Yeah.
I don't have the outer movements. I do have the shakes, and I don't know if they're like cortisol dumps or something. But I can control my movements, which I think is something else on top of it that made it even easier to misdiagnose. Because when people ask, or when you ask a doctor about akathisia, they go, it's a movement disorder.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I just give the finger to that. So for 5 months, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was polydrugged with, I think the list was over 15 medications, including hydromorphone, clonazepam, mirtazapine, which I was on for a little while and went off, pregabalin, numerous anti-nauseants, numerous, which I now know why they were making. Everybody's going, why is that? That can't be making you worse. No, that made me worse. They'd give me pills to take home. I'd take one. I'd flip out. My husband's like, what's wrong? I'm like, no, I'm not taking anymore. He's like, well, don't you want to get better? It was continuous. I had the pills, and then when I was admitted on my 5th visit, and I only talked about physical, so I was in the hospital, not in a psych ward. I was IV'd hydromorphone over and over. They kept giving me anti-nauseants, which were just throwing me absolutely more wild. And then they gave me clonazepam. And during that visit, I saw a TikTok. One lone TikTok. That's why I went to TikTok, by the way. I saw one TikTok that talked about akathisia. I knew what I had. The doctors weren't listening. The benzos were in me. I was starting to feel, oh my God, I can eat again. I couldn't eat. By the way, at this point, I was 143 pounds at the start of the akathisia. I had lost 15 pounds in a year and a half before with the Vyvanse. But I was down to 100 pounds. I also got a misdiagnosis of anorexia as I'm begging for a feeding tube because I couldn't eat. I'm begging for a fucking feeding tube and they tell me I have anorexia. So I see this TikTok and I'm like, this has got to be what I have. I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. Within a day, I had the doctors convinced. I'm like, I'm eating again. I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. I called my husband. I said, get me out of here. I got out within 24 hours. They're like, well, don't you want to have another meal first? I'm like, nope, get me out of here. And I still believed, though, I didn't know enough about this. I thought the clonazepam was actually helping me. I thought it was healing me. I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna start to feel better. I didn't know it was a brain injury. I didn't know that my whole system was absolutely screwed. So 3 weeks after getting out of the hospital, the clonazepam ran out. So guess what they did? They cold turkeyed me off that. That sent me into crisis. I don't want to go too in depth with that. Except my 7th visit, I did go to the hospital. My 7th visit to the hospital. I showed up and I said, I don't want to be here. I went driving that day to do something else, but I turned left instead and I went to the hospital. It's insanity. So people think we're crazy. Insanity is the fact that I kept going back to the same place that hurt me. Yeah. Over and over. Yet then when I wanted to die, I still went there. This is why I have such an adversity to, like, I don't know if that's the right word. I have to be unconscious to be back there. I went in there and told them I didn't want to live. That I had warned them since the beginning. If they hadn't figured out what was causing my physical injury, my physical problems, that my mental was going to go. Well, it was gone. It was done. I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't want to be here. Do you know they still did blood tests? At this point, they had done so many blood tests. They still did blood tests, and they said, well, we don't know what's wrong with you. And I convinced them that I was fine, and they let me leave. They let me leave, and they put me in a 6-week crisis program with the city, which I immediately left a week later, because what a joke. Just breathe. It's anxiety. It's depression. Just breathe. Let's talk through this. No. So during this time is when I started learning what I had. Like, Melissa, we crash course into this. Yeah. I joined the Living with Akathisia group. and the information I got off Akathisia Alliance saved my life. I knew this wasn't unique. And people ask how I survived acute. There's a couple factors that I could say on the top level, like we had a subgroup from living with akathisia. There was 4 of us, and we just talked 24/7 and pushed each other through. Crying, laying there with my legs up against the wall, my back on the ground, just anything to get through. But it was anger. I could say it was my daughter. I have a 20-year-old daughter. If I talk about her, I cry. But it was anger to what they had done to me, that I did not have informed consent, that this was even possible. This shouldn't have been possible.
This shouldn't have been possible. That's right. This shouldn't be possible.
And I want to jump back a little bit. During those first 6 hospital visits, they then went, and because I had also seen GI specialists, this and that, they were sending me everywhere, and they cold turkeyed me off the Zopicone. I'd been on high dose Zopicone for 15 years.
And that's a stimulant, right?
It's no, that's something that puts you to sleep.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the Z drug.
Yeah, it's a Z drug.
Which is very similar to, that's very similar to a benzo.
Very similar. And I didn't realize how similar they were. I don't think they connect the same, but they cold turkeyed me off that. All of a sudden, that was while I was in the hospital. The nurse came in and said, no, the doctors discontinued that. So for all this time, I was only sleeping 2 to 4 hours a night, if even. Sleep deprivation hallucinations are real fun. They cold turkeyed me off that. But a couple months before that, they cold turkeyed me off the Vyvanse as well. The GI doctor cold turkeyed me off the Vyvanse.
I can't even believe this is it's a horror story that you can't even make this up if you wanted to.
No, and I'm angry. I'm angry because I did everything wrong, but it wasn't like I had a choice. But I also did everything right. I don't know how I knew, but I knew just to talk about the physical symptoms. I knew if I talked about the mental stuff, there'd be issues.
That's right.
I don't know how I knew that, but I stuck with it. And so I wasn't sanctioned, like so many are. And thank God. So that was the right thing to do, because I was eventually able to run from the system and not be force medicated.
That's right. I want to talk a little bit about that part, is like, and I'm so happy you brought that up, because it's like, we have, not only is this chemically, medically induced and we become a victim of the system, but then it becomes not even safe to go back to them to tell them what has happened, because then you're put into a psych ward, which will polydrug you, most likely harm you more. I mean, once you're injured by one psych drug, as we can see, right, the nervous system is injured, we're then more likely going to be injured. Right, like if you even look at like taking an antibiotic like a fluoroquinolone, someone psych drug harm, you have like, on benzos, we have a 4 times now chance of being floxed. Yes. 4 times chance of being floxed. And so once you have a down-regulated nervous system, we are now more prone to psych drug harm with any other drug. And it's just, we now live in a world where we're like, where is it safe to go? And it's not safe in our bodies, but we can't leave these walls, because then it becomes a death sentence for us, right?
And this is something that, I pushed everybody that we can heal. We do heal, but there's also fear in the future.
Of course.
So, and whenever I say that, I don't talk well in videos. I'm getting better at that. I'm hoping to get a little better at that. But the fear of the future, when I say that, it's the fact that, what if somehow down the line I'm unconscious?
Yep.
I get put in the hospital. They give me a downer.
Yeah.
They give me the drugs that they're supposed to give, and these medic alerts They
Yeah.
don't give a crap about. Oh, that one's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But so now they've given me that and I'm back in acute akathisia. I won't make it a second time. So I don't know if you have any insight on that, but I'm scared.
Oh, trust me, I fear the same thing. And I mean, I wear my tags. I also though also wear a do not resuscitate tag. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people to understand. Um, but over my dead body, will I ever allow a doctor to dictate what they do with my body as best as I possibly can? And that's, I know that if I think that because we have suffered so much, and again, I come from like from a spiritual perspective. I know the level of suffering that we've endured. I now have full faith that like this played out the way it played out, and like we're on our path. I now know like if the universe wants, if that's what the universe wants, and I'm gonna be on like if I'm out and they're gonna consider what do we do to bring her back, that's my reverence. That's my control now of me saying, "Fuck you, this is my choice is to go." And so I trust that if that time is meant to happen, then it's going to happen because I walk around, I wear it. Like that's going to have to be the outcome. I mean, they of course they could ignore this, like you said, and I also need to wear my bracelet, which I don't, and that also is another reminder when leaving the house. But you're right. That's a fear that we have to live with. I go down the path of like I have no other choice than to have to trust the universe that they wouldn't put me in that situation at this point, knowing that this is my decision. This would be my decision, would be to go. And I know not many people would understand that. Also, many people, if you've suffered and endured the level of suffering we've endured, you would then understand it.
They would understand. That's exactly it. And that conversation with my family was very hard because, well, you don't even need to explain that, and it's what you've said. Don't touch me. I would rather die than to go back to go through what we're going through, fighting right now to heal.
That's right.
You're going to put me back in that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, the fear of a broken leg, stuff like that. Well, you better not give me any epinephrine or I'm going to go, no. We become our own doctors in reference to them.
100%.
We know, and my family wants a list of medications not for them to give me. Well, I don't want any of it.
All of it.
I'm not risking any of it. And that they're like, well, that's not an answer. That's an answer, and that's my answer.
I want to mention something that what I have started doing is every time I go to a hospital or I have to go to a doctor's office, when I walk in, I'm not the friendliest patient, to say the least. The first thing I say, and I say it really loud, I do not provide consent to give me any medication. Nothing. You cannot give me anything that's going to enter my body. If you do so, I will be opening up a lawsuit. I'm like, right now, write it down in the records. The nurse, the doctor, everyone in here, you all have ears. I am saying I do not give any consent for anything to enter my body. And one time, actually, I'm like in mind, like full blown, you know what this looks like, right? So I'm in the hospital. They want to do like some type of CT scan, and I've done a CT scan, and I've never needed to take any liquids or injection. The nurse came in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm here to take your blood." Okay, obviously it's like a needle. I want to turn my head. I don't want to look when someone's personally. So I'm sitting there, and I was with my ex-husband at the time, and he puts in the needle, and then all of a sudden I felt a drip, like a cold drip, and I'm like, "What is that?" And I turn around. And I'm like, what is that? He's like, oh, I'm putting in some type of liquid.
I can't say it, but the gadolinium or whatever it's called.
It's for the CT scan. Yeah. And I don't care what it is. I kid you not, I grabbed the IV, ripped it out of my arms, blood. I mean, I literally seen blood coming out. I flung it across the room. I'm like, did I say you could put anything into me? You walked in, you just said, I'm here to take blood. What about that was informed consent? His
Right.
whole face, he turned so red and he like laughed out of discomfort and he like just walked out. And I went ballistic at that point. This is
You know,
PTSD. I mean, people, they just, where is the informed consent? And you're right, right? Like, my point is every time I go to a doctor, especially if you have a common place, a hospital where you end up or whatever, make sure on those records they know they're like, you do not provide consent to put, to receive any drug treatment or the specific drugs that you don't want to receive. Like, if there's like a specific, like, I refuse to take these antibiotics, but if worst case scenario, the softest, most gentle one, maybe these drug classes, like, we have to do that. Like, because you're right, there's always that risk.
yeah. And it's not, yeah. And then people go, well, what are you talking about? If I hear one more time that these medications are safe, like, you know this very well. We go out there and we speak about it, and then the trolls that come after us on this stuff, and oh no, it saved my life, and then we just kind of come in there with until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. Okay, so it's like these drugs actually harm more people in some form than it helps, right? But then you like look at the actual mechanism of like action and how it actually works. It's like at best it's numbing you. At
It's,
best. Which is the exact opposite of healing. Like suppressing. And I think we've all been in that place where we wanted to be numb. Like that, like we've all been there. I think though, if we understood what true healing is, just because I wanted to be numb, I could go ask doctor like yeah, I want to be pushed off the bridge. Are you going to push me off the bridge? Like, just because we want something doesn't mean that's what's right for us. And that's exactly what's happening. I mean, we're going to the doctor's office and you're being shoved off that bridge every time we get a prescription.
well, and then that's a good point there of so for myself, this will be the 20th month. And
20th
if,
month.
if I could go numb, I would.
Yeah.
To like 8
Yeah.
months I was in akathisia. I had a half-hour window in the 7th month, but 8 months I went straight. You don't think that if there was something I could take safely, I would have taken it
Yeah, that's right.
instead of trying to fight to live?
That's
Like, on the medication aspect, over the 27 years, I had bouts of akathisia. I know now.
Yep. Well, you're taking it as prescribed, you're saying, yeah? Yeah.
I had it when they switched me from one antidepressant to the next.
Yeah.
That sometimes lasted only a couple days to sometimes a couple weeks.
Yeah.
There's a medication, diflucan. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, and even the ones you can buy from Shoppers Drug Mart, the treatments there, I would have 2 or 3 days of full-blown akathisia, no sleeping. And I was continuously told by the doctors it was mental illness. And they wanted to updose me. And it was I didn't listen to them. I knew it was from this that I was taking. Like, I had put it on my allergy list. Right? And I had, oh my God. Like, I look back at the last, so I'm missing time. So I've been in this for 20 months. For the 27 years before that, I look back and go, wake up. Wake up. This was happening. Every time you
hellbound.
I was, and but I knew.
I know.
And going to the aspect of, what you were saying about the numb, I didn't feel for 27 years. I didn't feel anything. And there's a lot of people that go through this and they think they're asexual because they don't feel anything.
Yep.
I deep down thought I was.
Yep. Oh, totally.
I thought there was something wrong with me. Well, guess what? It was from the medication because I'm back. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm feeling and I'm walking through it. We can't go around this.
That's
I'm
right.
going through it. And even right now, I've got a bit of the shakes. I got the agitation. I don't have agitation. I have the inner restless right now that's kind of trying to explode in my legs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's We could do that together a little bit.
Never once in 27 years did I ever try to learn breathing. Like, I do want to talk about my daughter though.
Yeah.
Um, so I was a single mom for a long time. My daughter's 20 right now, and I was medicated the entire time. I also was taking, I think it was Effexor when I was pregnant with her.
Mm.
I remember calling hospitals. I ended up finally getting hold of Women's Hospital in Toronto, and they told me that happy mommy, happy baby. That line that I heard, that Dr. Terlin did a video on that the other day. They told me that it was safe, that they had done a study of 100 women, and that the outcome of the babies, they weren't hurt. So I stayed on the medication. Half of me thinks, thank God I didn't go off of it right away, because I would have had full-blown akathisia and pregnant. I've talked to sufferers that are, but these medications that I was on, I couldn't wake up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I lost out on a lot of time with my kid. And I'm not going to forgive that. That's another reason it gets me really mad. People go, can't you just forgive and forget the dog? No, they took my life. They took my daughter's life. And I got akathisia. I got acute akathisia. And how do I put this, Melissa? It didn't matter anymore. There was no connections. There was no nothing. My daughter was hurting. I couldn't call her. I couldn't pick up a phone. I couldn't hug her. So for the 8 months that I was in acute, we were, I didn't have a job. We ran out of income. I didn't have my income. So what we were going to do is move to the basement and rent out the top floor.
Yeah.
Well, my acute akathisia was so bad, that top floor that we emptied out was now mine.
Mm.
I lived upstairs by myself with a bed and a Kleenex box and a pillow, with no kitchen items, with no bathroom items, so I'd be safe for 8 months. I couldn't even have my animals up there sometimes, because the crisis points, the rage is so bad. That's how I survived. So people say, you didn't get sanctioned. I'm like, no, I was sanctioned in my own home. But thank God I was, because I didn't get polydrugged. Because people that get sanctioned, God, I have so much respect and strength for them when they come back.
Same. Same.
But I miss my daughter. I miss my daughter. The anhedonia, the DPDR, that is finally slowing down. But God, that's crazy when you feel like your arms aren't even yours. But I miss my daughter. I've maybe seen her 4 times.
Yeah.
And she misses me. We were all we had. I was a single mom for a long time, and I raised that kid strong. And some part of me knew never to medicate her. She's got panic attacks, I never let her get medicated. But she doesn't get it. She doesn't get what I've been through.
I was going to ask you, does she understand? She's still so young. Look like you live with your parents, you were saying, right? Is it that you're living with your parents right now?
Balance between with my husband and my parents.
Okay. People that even witness it, like people that we live with, that sees what we're going through, they can't even understand it. And it's like, you see us, all day long. You see the words coming up. You knew who I was before. You see that I can't get out of bed. And it's like, and bless their souls, because I know in so many ways they have, they hit their capacity in so many ways. And there's a lot to say on that, but they can't understand it. Left alone, and it's like left alone trying to have to convince it to someone outside when you literally have no capacity to explain it to anyone on the outside. And then you're now stuck by yourself in a home on your own upstairs, like now crawling the walls, trying to
Literally.
figure out how do you literally figuring out how do you stay alive. It's like and I have to tell you, first off, I am so sorry. Your story, I'm just sitting here, just holding it back myself, listening to your story, because the amount of psych drug harm, you can't make this up. This is devastating what had happened to you. So I am so truly sorry that this happened, and repeated insults. And I have to say, I think being a mother going through this.
It takes away the ability to be a mother. And when I've said that in videos and stuff like that, people go, well, you're still a mom. Well, no,
They don't understand.
they don't get it.
Yeah.
Because, like, my daughter FaceTimes my parents last night, and I was feeling agitation and everything else. And the anhedonia was really, I don't even get on the call with her.
Yep.
It takes it away. And I'm going to get it back. I'm going to get it back. But the thing is, I can't just go, people around us, people that are around us that don't even understand will say, just talk to her. Well, it's like trying to talk to my daughter with the memory of what I used to be.
That's right. That's right.
And I refuse to mask anything anymore. I will never mask again. I've got all these emotions that I did not have since I was 21, and I'm not masking. And that moves into another aspect of, maybe finding friends again one day. I've lost all friends.
That's right.
But I will never mask. I will never mask again with people. And my daughter, it will come back. I'm starting to have good days. I'm starting to feel good emotion again. But it has to be on those days.
And it has to be in your own time. And I know that's not easy for anyone other people to understand. I'm with you. And just to be like, I know I don't actually talk about this publicly. I haven't spoken to my family outside of my mother, my ex-husband, and my brother, and that was because they were part of my caretaking team. Like, if you're not part of that team, I haven't spoken to my father, and I love my father. I haven't spoken to my sister. I lost two siblings, actually, both due to medication. Through this whole journey, never went to their funeral. I haven't spoken to anyone. And it's like, it's easier to talk to strangers. Like, here you and me are talking, right? It's easier to talk to for me personally. I would do this all day. I cannot talk to my father. And it's to you, it's like, it's because, to your point, you feel like you're forced, or like they have this memory of who you were before, but you're not that person. And even as we heal, and we will heal, we will never be that person because of what we've endured, what we now know. Those masks have been taken off, and we can no longer, there's no entertaining, faking it. There's none of you don't have that ability. That has blown open inside of us. You don't have that ability anymore to fake it. And so it's very hard to go back to that life. And obviously with your daughter, it's different. This is your daughter, and obviously you're going to have a different relationship with her. But I'm saying I understand. I don't have a daughter, but I understand how difficult it is to speak with someone that does not understand this, or like, and you just want to have a relationship, but you just can't have it the way you want it right now.
Yeah. And that's, and to your point, I connect with you. I connect with other pharma injured.
Yep.
We can actually have moments of laughter.
Yep.
Whereas when I'm with family, or the caretakers, but family, that doesn't come easily anymore. And it's not going to until my body and mind allows.
That's such a good point. It's like, it's easier for us to laugh because it's almost it's easier for us to laugh. One, because we know like we both know what we're going through, and either like even if it's like I want to yes, we obviously fake it a lot of the time, right, to entertain like that visual perspective, right? We know what faking is. We know faking it quite well, but I also think it's like well like we can separate ourselves when we're together from the illness a little bit and kind of fall into that piece of safety.
And that's where it comes into play as people go, well, you should be grateful. Didn't say I wasn't grateful, but can't really feel that most of the time, for one. For two, I'm grateful I'm not homeless right now. I can say that.
On your clock.
Yeah.
On your clock.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. I'll only feel that on when the anhedonia, or I'm not in a wave, or akathisia, or these. I'm just learning to separate the akathisia symptoms from the withdrawals, like the active withdrawal symptoms. Because for myself in acute, there was like 100 mental, physical ones that I listed. It took me 4 videos to list it. And it's only taking me during this time of healing to try to separate which is what.
Yep, I get it.
I have extended stomach constantly. I don't know if that's because of the clonazepam. I don't know what's from what. All I know is this it's just been absolute hell. And I did want to touch on an aspect that a lot of akathisia sufferers, we shouldn't have to fight for financial stability to survive. I was denied long-term disability. They denied me because they said I had ADHD. You can imagine the meltdown I went into after that. And because I wasn't on those medications anymore. So I was denied disability twice. I was denied CPP once. And people keep telling me to keep trying. I'm done. I've recently just made a resume. I'm gonna see if I can find something for maybe a couple hours here and there. I gotta dig out of this myself, because I don't believe in any system anymore. There's no system out there that'll help us when we're in this.
And that's like to have, if not the worst human illness. I mean, I don't know many illnesses that take all mind, body, and spirit. I would love really someone to tell me what other, I would love to learn what that is. But until then, we have one of the worst human illnesses that walk this planet, and we have zero support. That I just can't. I can't, like, and I was actually thinking about this today, this morning, is like, we're in 2025, and it's funny because, like, while we're living, we're like, we look back and we're like, wow, it's such a modern time. And then you look like today I had to do some blood work this morning, and I'm just looking at like the doctors and the people walking by, and I just see it's like I feel like I'm in the 50s, like everything is black and white and it's like old school, and I'm like that is what I'm seeing is everybody's walking by, and I'm like, this is like we're gonna see dinosaurs rolling out soon. Like we're so backwards.
It is, and this is, I've recently heard people say this is going to be a dark time in psychiatry history. Well, no, it is. Well,
Lobotomy.
It's literally lobotomized
Yeah,
the population.
that's right.
And now we're going to have The Walking Dead soon, because so many people are getting taken off of this stuff.
Yep.
Right. Like I've had to go back to. So I've recently fired my second doctor. But before I did that, I went back and I wanted some blood tests to check my vitamin levels coming out of all this, because my vitamin levels were, like, I was under 100 pounds, to be sure. I stopped weighing myself at 100. So I wanted to get my vitamin levels checked. And the second time, so sorry. The only thing that I haven't been able to bring up naturally is B12. So, but I'll figure it out some way. You know what I'm saying? You're not giving me a vitamin. I can't, this is something else. A lot of us with akathisia can't handle vitamins. Vitamins hit me as bad as a medication does.
Yeah. And B12, I mean, I have tested my fair amount of supplements through this journey, and B is one. And one thing I just want to say really quickly on that, if going like first off, I would never do anything until you feel that you are ready to try something.
Yeah.
And if you do try something, if you do, obviously do your research in the forums, make sure you're doing your research. But if you really want to try something, weigh the capsule,
Yeah.
open it up, and take 1/40th, 1/45th. I'm talking about crumbs. I've had insane, like, even at 1/40th, I've had setbacks. Fortunately, it's like lasted like 24 hours or less. But like, we do not take full pills of anything in this community unless you know, like, you've tested it and and I'm not advocating to take supplements, but it's kind of like that, what is it? Like, wear a condom, like, let me educate like high schoolers. Like,
Yeah.
this is that type of situation. Sex ed education.
Sprinkle the crap out of this stuff. I think I
Yeah.
got that term from Talia. Sprinkle. Like
Sprinkle.
a liquid, you just use the littlest amount. Like
Yeah,
just
that's
sprinkle.
right.
That was something I made a mistake of in the
We all
first. Oh God! But in
do.
the first 5 months, I had gone to see a naturopath, and
Yep.
she gave me one of those IVs,
Oh, wow.
one of the bags with all the vitamins in them.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh my God. That's like
Oh
my biggest fear.
yeah, I was crawling the walls. So like when I tell people not, maybe don't do that, or you may want to try a vitamin first, they think I'm crazy. I'm
Yeah,
like, no, I went absolutely mad after that.
absolutely.
So learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And we've all been there. That's the crazy thing. And I have to say, thank God for the psych drug harm warriors that walked before us, because like I like once me and my ex-husband at the time figured things out, it was then, when I kid you not, like, I remember like barricading our house from the outside world because I mean, I was so paranoid, and I was trying to work with a therapist that was convinced I was suicidal, and she kept asking me, and I'm like, you need to stop asking because I will never answer that. And so I was in Florida, so I was purchasing weapons. I was barricading the house. I was going to war. It
Yep.
was war with me or war with the world. And I was like, so but it's like, thank God for those warriors that walked before us. The same way we're walking now, and hopefully we're able to educate the people that are walking with us or the ones after us, right? It's like we're passing on that buck, we're passing on the baton. But I just want to highlight that. Thank you to them.
Yes, and I completely agree. The warriors that have come through this. I mean, here we are in an age with social media. The
Yeah.
warriors that have gone through this that had no social media.
I know.
Oh my God. How? I mean, this, and I hesitate using the word strength because this really is survival.
It's survival. But fast forward, we'll look back and see the strength. When you're in it, it's
Yeah.
survival. Yeah.
Okay. That's a better way to put it, because I
Yeah.
always do hesitate with that, because if I go, oh yeah, you're really strong, and someone's like, well, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. It's survival. Yep.
Even though I think, yeah, the shirt I'm wearing does say strong on it, but what are you gonna do?
You're very strong. I'll tell you that in the future, though.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll remind each other.
That's right. That's right.
But I think, I don't know. I just had a brain fog.
That's okay. You're allowed to have a brain fog. That's right.
Um,
I I know that I want to make sure that we don't go too long over, because I want to make sure people watch the full video. So I know we're getting close to time. I do want to ask you one quick question, and then I want you to share where we can all find you on your social media pages. But I guess a good place where we could end it is, could you kind of just share a few things that, like, what are the positive things that came out of this? And I don't want to mix things up, because everything we spoke about is real. Every suffering and every part of that is real, and that's our life every day. What I want to do is just bring some light to the part. What are the gifts? Because you have many gifts, my friend. And so I want to just highlight that a little bit of, like, what are the gifts that you have seen or noticed, even though it's hard to admit to any normie, but between psych harm to psych harm, because it's easier for us to talk about this, not them. What would you say those are?
Um, that I'm here. That, and I'm not just talking about in form, I'm talking about here and feeling. And that my eyes are open to the world now.
Mm.
I'm not looking at anything the same, but I'm seeing it different. Like everything coming out of acute, seeing the trees, it was like seeing everything for the first time.
Hmm.
I've learned to, I don't even think it's learned. It's just, I'm here now. I appreciate
Mm.
that I can feel. That's number one. That I'm feeling, that I can cry, I can be angry. You know what? When I'm angry now, I go and throw rocks. I don't hide it. I don't mask it. When I'm angry, I'm out there doing
I
something.
love that. Yeah.
When I'm happy, I'm making a video and I'm dancing around like a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not holding back any of that anymore.
Yeah.
And then um, on the more technical side of thing, I learned a new skill. I learned how to edit videos.
I love the edit videos. Yeah.
And I think that may be like that's where I'm heading for career.
Yeah, you are
Um,
good at editing, actually. I do like your editing on your videos. Yeah, that's a good point.
I love it, and it was my way of distraction. Is was my way of getting through the waves and windows aspect. I did not touch it until I came out acute. I was not on video, nothing when I was in acute akathisia.
Of
Uh,
course.
but in the windows and waves, I've been editing my brains out and just learning, and that's been a good tool. Let's put it that way. And on that note, when I was 21 and I had that job, I landed that job that I absolutely loved, where my life was taking off. That was a computer graphics job.
Oh, look at that.
It was graphics, it was computer editing, and I was creative. But when I got on that SSRI, that love was gone. I never went back into anything creative ever. I was a forklift driver for the past 10 years, by the way. Um, I started coming out of this, and the days I can feel my creativity's back, it's like 27 years didn't even happen. It's weird. So I'm here. I'm back.
That's
It
right.
took me too long to get here, but I'm here.
That's right. Well, I mean, you're definitely going to have a beautiful life ahead of you. Obviously, that doesn't change what you've lost. But there is so much more to gain. And I have to say, something I really like about your videos is the fact that like when you're pissed off, you show that you're pissed off. You're throwing those rocks. Like I think we that is like one of the biggest parts to true healing is like allowing our body and in like simulating and all of that physically is how we actually move trauma through our body. So every time I see those videos, like I just see somatic healing. Like for me, I love that you do that because I think it shows our community of that is a component of how we heal. Obviously, like some people can't get out of bed for a certain time. As you know, like you weren't able to do that. So it's at people's own times, right? You've done your time, you're in a different place. And when that happens, you're showing the world really how we heal through this as we go through this. So I love that. I really want to say that.
Thank you. I just think it's so important. Even people in the chronic illness community that aren't pharma injured, they're like, yes, you know, it's showing it. It's showing the feeling, the getting through it. I have gotten quite a bit of criticism on the Facebook platform from those anger ones, but no, if you haven't been harmed, then you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, and Facebook, Instagram, they push a specific agenda, and it's they want a mask. That's like the masked platform. So
This is us, and we're never masking again.
that's
And
right.
you know, we're taking control when we can
That's right.
of our mind and body, and going forward, that's going to become even more and more us.
That's right. And I think this is such a great place to end, but I do want to make sure that you get to share with everyone where they can find you on social media.
Okay. On TikTok, I'm at HereCat52. The 52 had nothing to do with anything. I just kind of wanted to throw people off my age. And I'm also on Facebook at Catherine Taka, Taka.
Awesome. And I'm going to put everything in the description as well, so everyone could find you through
Yeah.
that way if they want to find you. So awesome. Well, Kat, thank you so much for coming today and being so vulnerable and sharing your story. I don't want to say I know you're saving lives by sharing your story publicly and even doing this interview or just speaking out online on social media. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. We just have to keep voicing, right?
That's right. That's right.
Beside me, holding on to rose that's long gone. That's long gone.